All right, welcome to my presentation on misconceptions, scientific misconceptions. So I chose for mine to do the misconception that rocks must be heavy. This is an elementary misconception. I chose elementary because that's what I teach, and I think that would be most fruitful for me. So I can't tell if my face is in the way. If it is, sorry. So why must rocks be heavy? Why do students think that? Well, obviously, it's their experience combined with their imagination. So when students think about rocks, they picture these big boulders, they picture these big megaliths that we show them pictures of. They can imagine and remember what it felt like to pick up rocks and feeling the weight in their hand. And maybe they skip rocks and they can feel that it's heavy to throw, and they can feel and they can see that the rock eventually ends up sinking. And obviously students never see rocks floating, so they always see them at the bottom of the water, so therefore these rocks all must just want to drop and be heavy. So what's the actual explanation here? Well, there's two things going on. So we'd have to explore what they actually mean by heavy. What do they really mean? Do they mean how it feels in their hand? Do they mean that weight? Or are they talking about will it float? Are they talking about density? So that's going to really affect the scientific explanation to correct the misconception. So if we're talking about density, the explanation here is that it really depends on how the rock is formed. All right, so if it's a pyroclastic rock that are either shot in the air or that are quickly cooled, we're going to trap a lot of air bubbles in the rock, thereby making it less dense and able to float. So in that case, we would have a rock that's pretty light, as opposed to a rock that flowed out smoothly and was able to cool over a longer period of time, where the gas leaves the rock, thereby making it more dense. So what can make a rock less dense is that pyroclastic rock that has air trapped inside of it. So what's an activity? Well, I'm just going to show you a video because I don't personally have pumice. But in this video, we can see a little bit later on through the video that they actually end up, if you have this pumice, of course it's going to open up the settings. Now I'm going to click all over the place and it's going to skip forward, which is annoying. But they take this pumice and they actually put it into some water, and they see that it floats. And obviously that goes against their experience of rocks sinking straight to the bottom and showing them. Let's see if they're gonna put it in there and we're gonna see it float. So this was an experiment that I did in middle school, and it really stuck with me. We joked about how we could have pumices, or that we could have a house made of pumice, and we could kind of float down the river on our house made of pumice. Really hoping they're going to drop it in, and they do, and we see it float, and that's really cool. So that's an activity. I would get pumice and then show the students what it looks like for a rock to float. It's pretty cool. Here is the second half of a worksheet that I'll attach that has students compare this igneous rock to the obsidian compared to pumice. And they actually put it in water and talk about the way it looks and the way it feels. So again, showing that some rocks are heavy, some rocks will float, some rocks are dense, whereas other rocks can be lighter and float. So they actually have that hands-on experience. So there you go. At the end of that experiment, they would see clearly that not all rocks must be heavy.